completely incoherent.
We opened on a Saturday. It was May 27th. Monday morning, we were probably there at 5:30. And Jeff had done open to close both Saturday and Sunday. Walked in and joined us.
It is to go to get more of the pamphlets. I don't even know how many. If we don't, then we can. And then Brian's like, you actually have to go home.
We had a really late night, like we did most nights. And Lindy and I had stayed late, and we walked out to Upper Grouper and took over for both of the groupers. And so we can finish it from here, go home. And I swear there were like tears in their eyes. I think we just made their whole summer by letting them go home one night.
Early on, the hours were very late. I think one time I had a shift that started at 6 p.m.
We couldn't leave until the last guest left the land.
We had a couple of nights when we was there until 3 a.m., but the regular time was 2 a.m.
We went to go wait at Pride Rock for the bus to pick us up to take us back to our cars, which were in the Magic Kingdom parking lot. And then we realized that the bus had stopped running and we were left.
Michelle had to drive us back to the Magic Kingdom parking lot because we were parking off site. And we were there so late that the buses weren't running anymore.
So we called her and we were like, Michelle.
I was closer like all the time, and it was just a really big family.
Angela is the glue that held the closing family together.
Every day I closed, Angela was there.
I was always opening, so like I never really interacted with her.
I didn't realize that was her in the wheelchair. Yeah, I don't even think until she was the leader and someone was talking about it. Oh my God, that was you?
Our coordinator coverage wasn't set up great. So I was like by myself for like 5 hours at night.
I don't know how Angela did it, being what felt like the only coordinator.
People wanted to come close because of Angela.
Back to back to back, and I'm just running around everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Angela's working on it. Angela's taking care of us.
If you can find fun in all of the chaos that was closing Avatar Flight of Passage early on, I think she had a big part making that a good experience for us.
Every time you were at Merge, you just had to call for a coordinator for backup.
It was intense when you're at a group where you're like, I better get a 1500 hour or someone's gonna come for me.
For me, Tower was terrifying, staring at the screens. Like, I don't think I blinked for the first couple of months.
I wasn't prepared for anything in this attraction, but I super wasn't prepared to have to tell somebody I can't help you ride today.
I think that made unload the second scariest position, because I remember people would just come out of the door and they would chuck their flight visors in any which direction. You had to like casually slip in, like, has anyone tried the practice vehicle seat?
These are cards. They essentially explain the unique dimensions of our ride vehicle and that they can't accommodate everyone, unfortunately. And this is the most awkward conversation I've ever had.
I remember us dragging strollers past the exit through millions of people. That was awful.
Even load for me was a little scary at first. I had never done an attraction, this big, like, board of buttons.
We used to have a glasses collector that would go around and pick up the glasses and then bring them down, and then a glasses stacker in the room that would stack the glasses.
Meanwhile, the glasses cast are like crying in the basement. I remember walking the building with Adam.
They can stack 16 pairs of glasses in 5 minutes.
Why can't we stack glasses in these tiny rooms that people aren't throwing up in?
Grouper is funny in hindsight because we put a lot of emphasis on grouper during training, but then when we opened, we were like, oh, it's just putting people in a room.
Early on at Grouper, initially, Grouper 2 was supposed to group ride rooms A and B, and Grouper 3 was supposed to group ride rooms C and D. And then we quickly realized that doesn't make any sense at all.
We didn't have the tablets. Like, we had a clipboard, a white piece of paper that was laminated, and it had every ride room, and then we had an expo marker. Thank God for Carter.
I remember getting trained on the whiteboard. Hey, did you see this? And I was like, who made this?
How are the cast gonna remember what seats are out, which ones are available, and then Carter's like, oh no, yeah, that's fake.
How many people does it take to figure out a grouping process? And then Carter just bumps in and it's like, hey guys, I made an app.
The team that we had assembled might have spent too much time figuring out how to group people at flight, but we did spend time on other things that we were right about.
They decided, we're not going to put any signage in this land.
I think Jeff and I had 150 meetings about signage.
No. We gotta have something.
And the only way that Jeff and I could win was by using those main entrance lollipops that we said
we'll remove them.
Never before had we had a attraction that has had a queue that is what Flight of Passage is.
Across the bridge, then almost towards Starbucks and retouching in Africa. And every day it would be like, oh, where's the line today?
My area of focus was land control. I was always out there doing land control.
I think it took us maybe like 3 days before we were like, no, we need rope. And he called it like Brett's School of Knot or something, like Moara School of Brett. And he took all the cast out, all the land control cast, and made them all tie ropes for like the whole afternoon.
Oh my God, at the end of line sign. I can remember people taking so many photos of us holding that sign.
We put together a plan from the beginning. We had a plan for queues and where queues would flow and how we would manage and staff those.
All of this was designed with the idea that it would be for a day or a weekend or a week.
We have done that from the beginning, and not a single thing has changed with that process from the first day that we opened.
One of the first fire alarms when we actually had guests in the building.
Most of us just kind of looked at each other like, is this real? Is this happening? Okay, we're doing this.
We hadn't really encountered that situation yet. We just had a mosh pit of people for as far as you could see in every direction, and it was just complete chaos.
I think there were 3 signal 25s. Recording the fire door and then sending it out in an email.
There was a guest and he wouldn't move. Sir, you're gonna have a bump on your head.
There was the 2 in one day that I remember.
One day, coming into work, probably closing, pulling into the Pandora lot, park my car, and you just see guests coming down the stairwell.
I was sitting in my car. I saw in my rearview mirror that everybody started coming out, and I was like, oh no.
It takes every part of your being not to just put it in reverse and like just pull out of the line.
Then it started raining, like straight pouring, and I was like, I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'll be back later.
I remember the code H's.
The one that was in the actual alleyway, and you could tell that they had picked it up and they threw it at the wall.
Somebody had leaned over a fire escape and like over the edge off of like several stories up, and it was like all the way down to the bottom.
I think code U's were the worst because you never knew if it was real or not.
Okay, make sure they don't sit on the link chair, and then they'd be like, oops.
I remember the first code V. Why do we have to close down the entire room? Just close the level where they had the code V and let's just run the other 2. And they're like, no, they all move at once. Why would they make a ride where all of it moved at once? That doesn't make any sense.
Nighttime EMH was just so crazy in general.
One of the worst ideas we ever had was doing PM EMH every day.
I want to meet the person who decided that. I have a few things I'd like to say to them.
PM EMHs that was only supposed to be 6 weeks long that turned into 12 weeks long.
I was always out there when we had to close the line for EMH, and it was just always so crazy.
Never mind having to close at 8:30 at night on 11 o'clock close for day guests because we needed to clear the queue out.
Either I would be Flight 80 or Flight 81, mostly Flight 81.
Dana closed all the time.
I closed with Dana. And I remember always being with Dana.
I closed 12 of the first 14 days that we've been open.
I remember being out there one night with Michelle and Dana. We had to close 16 minutes after PM EMH started.
We literally had a cast member that had a clicker and was clicking people as they were getting into the queue, and then we cut the line and said, sorry, that's it. And it was just mass chaos.
And we had a line that stuck out of the queue, probably getting close to Flasca. Michelle's at the front, I'm running in the middle.
Somebody would monitor where the end of the line is.
Go to the end of wherever this line ends up being and start telling people that they're not going to get in.
You would have somebody designated to go and say, hey, you're standing in line and you're not gonna get on the ride.
That turned to be the process that we had to do every day for, I don't know, a couple months.
One night, this guy told his family to walk away while he talked to me because I was like, this man is about to curse me out.
I remember talking to Kelsey at one point. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, this is awful. I'm out.
Passing by Jeff's office and him being in his office and just popping my head in and going, hey, I think we might lose Anna soon.
Then I went and got married and I came back and it was fine. So it was good.
You just can't explain. Just kind of become numb to so much.
I think for so many of us, it just it clicked. They're like, okay, this is our new norm. And we just kind of dealt with it from there.
I think about what the cast had to go through, what the coordinators had to go through, what we went through. Sometime in the middle of the day, we knew that we were going to have a chance to get in the office and just vent for like 5 minutes. And we were all really good about picking each other up, making each other laugh. It just felt, it was a great environment to be in those circumstances.
Because that's working on Pandora.
The world of Avatar, only at the Walt Disney World Resort.